personal level, I'd like to see something different out of Perks. He ran that AP Echo mid for 1 game. He's had 3 games of Rise. And I just think as a player, he's got a lot more ability than what we've been able to see on the stage. Despite actually having very good laning phases, it's not translated elsewhere on the map.
And you know, as a fan of Rise, I would like to see something else out of Perks as well, because he's absolutely decimated the Champions win rate coming into this. However, we will see if he is able to pull it out, because it is such a strong pick right now. I do not blame him for picking it up. They might need some more dynamic picks, however.
All right, 1 ban left for G2. Will it be the Bard, or will they give that over to Dumbledore and say, you know what? We faced better. The answer may be a resounding yes. Rounding out the bans, Maokai, LeBlanc, Lucian from G2. That means Supermassive, Braum, Zed, Nidalee. Alistair is up and available, and that's an insta-lock Bard.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, they favored the strong jungler, Nidalee being banned away. Storm-aged, able to pick up Kindred here. We've already spoken about Kindred today a lot, but she is super strong. We'll see whether Perks is able to shuffle people out of the ultimate, though. It's one of the cool interactions that I like to see. Very good Azir players will nullify the effectiveness that the jungler can have towards the latter stages of the game.
And it will be a slightly different champion for Perks, something that we're looking forward to potentially seeing. What has been run into the Azir this tournament, we've seen a lot of Rise. One of those sort of S-tier mid picks. Naru has run Lissandra, LeBlanc, and Azir. Those are the 3 champions he's played this tournament. And he'll have some opportunity to potentially change that, because we have seen Echo flex, albeit only once. That still counts.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you know, I am sure the LPL team will flex it into jungle at some point as well if people start attacking that pull. Archu has picked up, in my opinion, what is his best AD carry here in Ezreal, because Dumbledore does love to roam around the map, and Archu is very good at 1v2ing that bottom lane as it gets towards the 5-6 minute mark and keeping it nice and even. So we'll see whether they do play towards that lane swap, get Dumbledore out of the lane. I mean, he spent the least amount of time next to his AD carry of anyone in the tournament by a pretty hefty margin.
Yeah, he was too busy trying to carry on that Bard multiple times. G2 quick lock-ins here. They know what they want to play. Poppy and Kalista. That'll be the first time for Kikis and Poppy this tournament. Emperor pulls out the Kalista as well, going to give them some more engage tools. Also, more tools to deal with the Kindred ultimate. You know, a lot of champions on the G2 side can thwart it, and Naru pulling a little bit of a surprise here and locking in the TF.
And this is something that IWC regions love to do. They love to open up the map and try and exploit mistakes. And the way G2 have been playing lately is very sloppy. So there will be opportunities for Naru to be able to capitalize on that. I want to talk about the Poppy just a little bit further, because that's actually double hits towards Dumbledore. The 2 supports we've seen him play a lot is the Poppy as well as the Bard. Braum is the only other one, I believe, and that's banned away by Turkey. So we're going to have to see whether he can pull out a new pick here.
All right, so what does G2 round out their team composition with? Graves into the Kindred is something Trick has done a bunch, and Hover lock, there we go. Not a real surprise, but I think the theoretical approach to the G2 comp is actually pretty good this game. On the condition, Naru and Achu, maybe Thaldrin, don't get rolling, because there is so much pick potential here for Supermassive.
Yeah, and that's what Supermassive is, right? They want to open up the map early. I'm expecting them to lane swap, roam with the Morgana, see if she can get anything going, and then play with Vision well against G2, set up the Twisted Fate, as well as the Kindred, and see if you can take someone down. They need to play crisply here, G2. This game will prove a lot. If they can beat Supermassive with Supermassive's lineup, it will show that their macro play is getting back to where it was.
Yeah, that's a tall ladder to climb for G2 Esports. But for Supermassive and the Turkish squad, they've got a similar flavor to this team composition that helped them beat CLG yesterday. We'll see if they can take down another LCS region. You've seen the team comps there flashing across player stalls as well as the floor, and the coaches are about to shake hands. You guys know exactly what the deal is once that happens.
Yeah, exactly right. Jump onto social media, guys. Use those hashtags SUP win or hashtag G2 win to be able to tweet out, show your support for those teams. And right now, with the composition that Supermassive were able to pull together, you mentioned very similar to yesterday's comp. I mean, they have a Twisted Fate instead of a Bard. It's going to be so close.
It really will. And the winner of Who Owns the Rift in terms of MSI icons is the European LCS, pulling one over the Turkish TCL champs of Supermassive. And yesterday, they actually won a couple of fan votes as well. The Turkish fans are out in force for Supermassive.
And why not? As we get onto Summoner's Rift, this is the best wildcard team we have ever seen, really living up to their name and showing that they can take anyone out yesterday. And they're looking to do it again.
You know, I want to start this one by, looking at Supermassive's performance over the course of their 4 games so far. They have not been absolutely demolished in any of them. It's ended in, a scary fashion, but in laning phase, they've shown up. They've gone toe-to-toe with some of the best players in the world. They've not been shut out. And you heard Aframu and Stick say, they reckon, Aframu and Huhi rather, they reckon top 3 duo lane at the tournament.
And I think a part of that is actually, this is one of the first wildcard teams we've seen that haven't had obvious champion pool issues. I talk about it a lot, but if you can't ban a team out, if there's not a one trick on the team that, is used to dominating their region in the laning phase, this is a team that actually plays the macro part of the game and the lane swap quite well. And you can see that they're going for it, swapping away from what is a very powerful lane to try and get an early game advantage.
See the keystones flashing up on screen for the time being. We'll find out how much of an impact Dumbledore can have on this Morgana.
Yeah, and not running Thunderlords there, actually going for Wind Speakers. That's a little bit different.
Somewhat unexpected.
Probably going to rush a Locket, so it's not a huge deal. I think that what is important to point out is they obviously understand what the win conditions of their comp is. They need to open up the map early and see whether they can get the Twisted Fate rolling on the first couple of ganks, as they're actually fishing for kickers here.
Gonna find Trick instead with the Dark Binding. Lane swap initiated here by Supermassive as Shu and Dumbledoge move their way up top. Emperor and Hybrid gonna have some uncontested time down bottom, and now we can see who's gonna play out this lane swap.
So this is really nice to see out of G2, actually respecting the support, not going for the Raptor camp and risk getting poking off, just walking down. Actually a very calm start out of G2 and showing that maybe the communication is getting back there.
Bold statement.
I'm optimistic.
At 2 minutes, Spawn. We'll see how that pays out.
All right, Trick going back to the top side of his jungle shows that they're also a little bit, this is silly.
Okay.
Is a nice way to say it.
Trick, gonna potentially have some support from Perks, who, by the way, is running Flash and Cleanse. Good damage from Trick. End of the line, bursts him down, 110 HP. Stomage is running for his life, forced to flash over the wall. Trick does not chase. Okay. So there is some development here on the over-aggression.
So in the end, they are able to get a summoner spell, so very patient play out of Trick because of a good ward placed down at the earlier stage of the game. So he will be able to grab some additional farm for himself, but he still can't get his red buff, and it does mean that he's on the opposite side of the map to his duo. Actually, he's going for his red buff as well. This is so greedy.
A little bit risky. Nobody from Supermassive is looking to challenge yet, so Trick may actually get away with this.
It means if Trick is ever spotted, he can't join a push, and Supermassive can just shove through quicker than what the G2 lineup can. However, already recalling Dumbledore, already recalling a Chu, looks like it's just going to be a standard European-style lane swap.
All right, then let's find out how the next few steps play out. We've mentioned this a couple times already, but Supermassive, we know that they've scrimmed against a number of the lower-ranked LCS teams as well as challenger teams. We know G2 has worked on their lane swap style all split long, and now we can find out who's going to come out ahead. In the previous game, or in games earlier today, despite falling behind, RNG managed to still turn around the mid-game, find the team fights, find the ways to pull themselves in, and for Supermassive, they've got a composition that can pick off champions to bring themselves back in.
Yeah, it certainly do. They also have a fairly decent team fight composition. I mean, it's going to be hard to get onto an Ezreal that is black shielded up. People underestimate the repetitive gold card on frontline members and how frustrating it makes dealing with Twisted Fate is. Dumbledore looking for a snipe on the mid lane, but this isn't going to eventuate too much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is one of the most telling fan votes that I've seen all tournament long. 75% of you think that hashtag Supermassive will win.
That's huge for the Turkish region. I mean,
they've looked better than G2 in all of their games.
And maybe winning some international fans, which is always nice to see. A very endearing team, to say the least. Some huge personalities on it. And
you know what? Supermassive are starting to make a claim that wildcard teams are continuing to grow, continuing to get better. And, you know, there's kind of this negative stigma around it. The players themselves are like, look, we don't want to be seen as this wild card spot. We want to be taken seriously as a champion in our region. And they're putting up performances to actually silence a lot of critics.
And showing that, you know what, they're not only individually mechanical players that are very good at the game. I mean, they're going toe-to-toe with G2, who are a very good map-oriented team for the first 5 minutes of this game. I mean, it's only 100 gold in it, and we'll see now whether they had the third map step in this lane swap correct.
We'll find out. Rift Herald picked up by G2. The European LCS does a lot of fighting around the Rift Herald as the split continue to play out. But what does this mean? Emperor will secure the kill and the buff. Thaldrin left alone down in that bottom lane to pick up some CS and some levels. Kicker's doing the same up top, and it is Supermassive. They get the Dragon in reply for the Herald.
So Deficio would tell me right now that Supermassive have made their first error. They should have recalled early so they get to the lane earlier so they can start their push, because the Rift Herald will naturally push quicker. They also didn't get a very good deep ward, so they can't really spot out whether they are going to match standard lanes. I do expect Supermassive to walk into the bottom lane now and try and respond to the Rift Herald, because they have lost all kinds of form of tempo.
All right, let's find out. Luckily for Supermassive, 2 teleports and a Destiny means that if G2 want to go for a heavy push and an inner turret with that Rift Herald buff, there are global powers that can come in behind.
But that's why the deep ward would have been so important for it, because that's what they needed to get set up. So we'll see whether either Dumbledore or a Chu can get some vision into the lane. You see they've just dropped one near the tier 1 turret. They're expecting it to be shoved in, and they want to make the play you're talking about.
All right, let's see who pulls the trigger first, and also who can work around. A level 4 for Kikis. Teleport is available. Thaldrin the same. Dark Binding as Kikis moves into lane. Perks instantly left mid, by the way, the moment that Dark Binding connected. And that is afforded by the fact that Perks has been able to shove Naru in. Not built up a CS advantage, despite the early laning that Zia could have had. And look at all of those wards spawn. You wanted some vision behind G2. Supermassive have got it for days.
Yeah, they have it now. They are trying to push in mid lane so Naru cannot leave. And this is a good choice to just leave. They know there is vision behind them. Go pressure another lane.
Respect the teleport, respect the potential flank or engage, and G2 back away.
Another important thing right now is it looks like, yeah, both top laners have teleport, sure, but one's level 6, one's level 4, and if Kikis has to teleport out of that lane, good night to any form of responding to Thaldrin, because that creep wave is massive. So G2 respecting it, understanding where they need to be on the map, and just not taking that risk.
So even start here to the game as Hybrid finds Thaldrin. Takes a good chunk of damage, actually. Time Winder flies out and tags Hybrid. Thaldrin's able to walk away while Perks just takes a Thunderlord's proc from a combo from Naru. And basically, we're just even. 8 minutes in, the lane swap has not built any advantage, except, I think, the bigger global objective, the Dragon for Supermassive.
Yeah, 100%. And you've taken, you know, a Twisted Fate with teleport, so no kill summoner, and opened up the map. So you have to say that right now, Twisted Fate is much more comfortable going into a side lane, get Achu into the mid lane with Dumbledore, as well as Storm Mage starting to rotate into that darkness. And you can start looking for picks in the next couple of minutes out of Supermassive and just play the map game, because honestly, Perks isn't going to be able to respond in kind.
And also, let's talk about the picks and bans and the team comp that Supermassive have built, because the weakness that G2 have demonstrated in buckets is the lack of communication and their disrespect of, teleport timing. So they picked the comp with multiple. Emperor gets pulled in, Fate's Call does not find a Chu, defensive flash, Black Shield means that there's no route in place. Teleport coming down for Kikis. Naru is low on mana, Gold Card Prime, stuns Kikis, defensive flash away. Kikis jumps forward, collateral damage, and one more verdict gives first blood to G2. It's not over yet. Storm Mage is looking for a fight. Defensive flash from Trick. Thaldrin's got so many spears from Emperor, but it will not matter. They trade 1 for 1.
Yeah, they do, but all of a sudden they also open up the map.
Oh, whoa! Almost more. Tower to G2 as well.
Yeah, so Perks stayed home is what I was going to say. So that was a 4v5, and Perks was able to take down mid turret, so huge advantage now for G2. See whether Supermassive can get anything in response.
All right, teleport was used by Thaldrin and Duke. It means Naru will have his available. First blood was picked up on the side of G2 by Kikis. So here's the replay of that attempt.
And the huge advantage right now is that both Emperor and Hybrid are level 6, whilst Achu and Dumbledore are not. Naru's also and gets picked up as an easy first blood out of Trick. Soldierin. Oh, it was actually Kickus that grabbed that one.
Yeah, with the ulti.
Yeah.
Stacking together. Stonemaged in trouble. Hamster Spider's available. Trick's going low. Dark Binding finds him. And there is some support from Hybrid.
Trick likes fighting junglers at the moment.
Trick likes fighting. I think you can finish the sentence there.
But he will go out of his way to like continue the fight against junglers. I mean, he's starting to run into an area where he actually doesn't have vision of the river. They have one entrance water, but not the other. So that's actually quite a risky play out of Trick. And this is something that has been punished against G2 for the entirety of this tournament.
That's giving them a lot of headaches. 10 minutes in, G2 got a tower advantage, but only 500 gold.
Because they're losing lanes. I mean, Kickus is 20 CS down, 10 CS in that bottom lane that isn't Ezreal Morgana. I mean, definitely not the same power as what Kalista and Bard should be.
And a terrifying thought as well, Stonemaged has already got 4 marks to the Kindred. By 11 minutes in the game, the lane swap and positioning on the map has worked out in his favor. So there's going to be a lot of damage coming up from Supermassive.
And now anytime G2 want to pressure a turret, want to see if they can shove these waves in and control Naru, they also open themselves up for that brief second to the Destiny ultimate coming out. As Dumbledore's just fishing a little bit, but expecting the map to return to some form of normalcy now, and G2 looking toward potentially their second Rift Herald.
I'll find out. Because the last one kind of fizzled.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth the risk of pushing into the inner turret. But 2 Heralds by 12 minutes, it's a fair amount of gold. The Sundisk Tower was taken out by Supermassive, and we're going to start to see these lanes shape up a little. Stonemaged on the Dragon, uncontested, while the rest of G2 put deep vision and push the inner top.
Yeah, so this is actually a huge turning point. If Stonemaged can get this, 5 stacks unquestioned, it will be big. But right now, G2 making the great play and taking down a tier 2 in response.
Yeah.
Very crisp play right now out of G2.
Yeah, opening up that map further, extending the gold lead despite giving up a dragon. And G2's team composition, I think when you add the sum of their parts as a team comp, if they have a gold lead as well, would be willing to commit to a dragon fight.
Yeah, completely. They have a terrific team fighting composition. In fact, the 2 early dragons Supermassive have picked up, if this game goes super late, will be crucial in stopping that dragon stacking that can come out. But we're not used to seeing that out of the European teams because they will just continue to do this, work you around the map, pick up your outer turrets, suffocate you off, and then all of a sudden, with something like Kalista and Perks as Azir, they can just open up the Baron buff relatively early and just suffocate you out of the game. In fact, if you are Supermassive right now, you just don't want to fight at all. You want to go back to 1-3-1 and try and open up the map further and take advantage on the fact that Perks is playing a control mage without teleport.
And Thaldren's teleport's going to become available very soon. So if they want to set up those picks, if they can find someone out of position, then the tools are in Supermassive's kits to actually shut that person down. Trick hanging around Emperor, basically saying, look, there's a threat TF could come in from behind. Has opted to recall literally at the time the wave pushes up. So this will give Emperor some additional safety.
And this is important because Perks is a person that will clear the waves until, oh, there we go.
Destiny, Gate, Gold Card, Emperor should get shut down here. Easy kill as Naru gets sent golden by Hybrid in a little bit of trouble, pinned against the wall. Here comes the rest of G2. That was a great cosmic binding. A reply back from G2. Emperor's Divide won't knock anyone away, but it won't be needed. Lamb's Respite times out, and Thaldren's running for his life. Chrono Break is available, but will throw him back into threat. A 2-for-1 in favor of G2.
But we'll see whether they're able to pick up the mid turret. Right now it is Trick rotating across to try and stop Achu. Kicker still wants Thaldren, but will not be able to find him. GT looks like a team that knows how to play against double TP. This is what we expected out of them.
Now, this is exactly what we had expected. And Hybrid and Kickus, they're still hanging around, but it's Kickus that takes a lot of damage. There's no support. On the minimap, there's a teleport coming in on a blue buff, and it's Naru that's coming to play. Kickus is in trouble, but he gets a kill with a verdict. There's no disengage. Achu will Arcane shift over the wall, follows the magical voyage, the magical journey, and sends Hybrid back to base. Naru picks up a kill. A little greedy, I think, sticking around.
Yeah, I certainly think so as well. Thaldren, in fact, didn't use his ultimate, so thought he would be able to avoid death here. But this is how they started off. This is good from Supermassive, being able to get the pick. But Naru clipping that Bard ultimate was devastating because he gets destroyed and loses his team all of the advantage that they'd set up. And Perks, as I mentioned, Azir is just so strong against Kindred as the game progresses to nullify so much of that team fighting advantage.
And of course, G2 extend their lead, 2,500 gold, respecting the teleports, respecting their positioning. I think maybe a little greedy on their Kicker's hybrid play, but for the most part, it's been them in control. And now Supermassive, now we get to see how do they play from behind with a team comp that needs to make picks, needs to do proactive plays to claw themselves back in, because they don't really want to commit to 5v5.
Yeah, they certainly don't. And Naru going for what I call the variety bucket build. I mean, he's got a Sheen, he's got a needlessly large rod, he's got the making of an Abyssal Scepter. He's kind of got everything there. Versus, I guess, Perks, who has just gone back, completed an item, now looking towards what will be a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Little bit strange out of the mid laner for Supermassive, to say the least.
We'll find out what impact that has, because Perks, on the other hand, finished off the Nash's Tooth, got a needlessly large rod. Trick, a little bit more traditional on his Graves build, in comparison to what we've seen from MLXG, who has been sort of the standout jungler of the mid-season invitational so far.
Yeah, I think it's definitely fair to say, but Trick is someone that we do expect to start stepping up for his team. Definitely needs him. Another Destiny.
It is indeed. Emperor is going to get chunked down. Goes golden for a few seconds. His hybrid will buy some time. Maybe killed by Stomage. Is taken down. Now Perks looking to play defensively. And G2 lose one.
And look at this. They've got the push on the top side of the map. So all of a sudden they can rotate up there. Thaldron can't afford to die.
No, he cannot. Thaldron's got Chrono Break and Flash. Not under threat. G2, they're saying screw the top lane, we'll go mid. They've grouped themselves up. Supermassive take the inner turret top. G2 will take the inner turret middle.
Yeah, they're going to push, and all of a sudden, Supermassive have a much bigger minion wave. Kickers is tanking this one up, and they're already on the inhibitor turret.
Advantage Supermassive. They're going to open up the base of G2 and back away. Emperor was able to get into range, and that means 4 towers to 5, but G2 open inhibitor.
A double TP with Twisted Fate opening up an inhibitor at 17 minutes is so annoying, because all of a sudden Kickers is kind of tied to that top lane. He needs to be the one always responding, because they want to burst open that base, see if they can get anything going. So Supermassive, honestly, with this pick comp and making it work, not only against CLG, but now against the EU LCS's G2.
Yeah, 1,000 gold is the difference. It was around 3K before that series of events. And Thaldron will get his teleport up and available. Naru is about 25% of the cooldown away. Similar sort of time frame as Destiny. And that means all of those globals, all of that map pressure will then be available to Supermassive. 3 seconds until Dragon and G2 already set up.
And this is even more frustrating for G2. Oh, they're going in.
A lot of damage. Fate's Call has been used by Emperor. Kickers teleported in behind Dumbledore. They're looking for the support carry of the Turkish TCL. Dumbledore has been able to run away for his life as Thaldron is now under pressure. Will Chrono break backwards? Hybrid is the first one to fall as Stomage and the rest of Supermassive come from behind. G2 made the mistake they've made all tournament long. Bitten off more than they can chew. Kickers will at least get one back, but it may not be enough. He's now in trouble as Trick goes down to the gold card, wild cards, mystic shot from a Chew. Kickers is the next target. He's being run down by 4 members of Supermassive, and it's Naru that gets the kill.
And the collapse out of Supermassive is on point one more time. This jungler, who we said, can you play anything other than Gragas, is rising to the occasion. Stomage is having a awesome tournament so far in MSI, and they're going to take out mid lane turret.
Take one step back. Supermassive are having an awesome tournament so far. Every single member, they've made roster swaps based on the game, based on their opponent. Thaldron and Fab have both shown up. And now in this game, a gold advantage to a pick comp with double teleport advantage means it's up to Supermassive to control this mid game.
And they take the tier 1 in mid. They send Achu towards that dragon. They now have 3. As we take another look at this, this is a reach. The teleport comes in, and honestly, the members aren't that far away out of Supermassive, and they just kite them out. I mean, you have a Morgana, you have Echo, as well as the blue Ezreal, and they just can't finish anyone off during this entire pursuit. And G2 maybe not affording them the respect they deserve, because time and time again, they were just able to escape with slithers of their health bar.
I think some credit to G2 to find some kills here, but the problem is they're just overcommitting. They're finding themselves caught out. You know, Kikis and Hybrid, they were caught down earlier. Now in the mid lane, throwing everything at Dumbledore, not actually killing him. And yes, Kikis is 4-1-1, but his backline just got flanked and got shut down because as a team, they just weren't grouped up effectively. Hybrid takes a lot of damage here from the gold card, wild cards, two-shot barrage as well.
No teleport getting chunked out means that this siege is over because someone has to go back and look at Tholdren. He's actually recalling himself. He's the one that wants the flank.
Stomage took a lot of damage from Perks' Sand Soldiers. Teleports coming into the Tri-Bush. It means G2 are being flanked, but G2 are grouped up. Parallel Convergence will stun up Emperor. Kikis channels the verdict and sends 2 members of the Turkish squad away. Chrono Break to keep Tholdren alive. Buy some hit points. He should get taken down, and he will by the collateral damage. They traded 1-for-1, top for ADC, and G2 may have successfully backed away.
We'll see whether they're able to, because teleport still is available for the Twisted Fate. No, they will escape. One more time, a good collapse out of Supermassive, but this time G2 equal to the challenge, able to hit back. But it's 3 dragons to none, and G2 have a lead. And honestly, time and time again, their collapses are just crisper, and it's G2 that are playing reactionary League of Legends.
G2 can't afford to fall further behind. Here's that teleport again in from behind.
So Tholdren's able to pinch Emperor here, gets him on the edge of the stun. And honestly, if it wasn't for a quite poor ultimate here to try and execute him, Tholdren wouldn't even have died either. It was a greedy ultimate, and great work out of Perks and Tricks to be able to make him pay for like one of those tiny micro decisions.
Yeah. As we jump back to live, it is Supermassive sieging the mid inner turret. And Hybrid has actually used that ultimate. So we didn't catch the Tempered Fate usage off screen. I imagine it was just to try and stop the dive middle. Naru does not get stunned against the wall. Cosmic Binding will not find him either. And Gold Card will buy some additional time. Look at the rest of Supermassive coming through the jungle, putting pressure on G2 under the tower.
And they're always farming 3 lanes versus the 2. You can see that it's starting to take its toll. Big deficit in AD carry and some top lane.
Oh, Kikis flashes over the wall, looking very aggressive for that one. There's no follow-up from the Tempered Fate, trading with Dumbledoge.
That's a strange decision out of Kikis. Really not respecting the Morgana Black Shield. He feels like he has to make a play at every stage of this. Try and start one of those team fights. Tholdren doesn't have his teleport available, and Kikis is the strong member on the team right now, but he's just not able to get anything going.
And look how defensive G2 are posturing on the map. Forced all the way back towards their inner turrets, and Naru with Destiny and TP is trying to control. Trick, he flashes forward looking for a kill onto a Chu. Lamb's Respite will buy some time as Stomage backs away, but you know, trading flash heal there from a Chu as well. So that is an important cooldown if Kikis can find him, or if Hybrid can stun Achu down.
But all of a sudden, they've shown 2 members in the bottom lane, and Supermassive drop onto Baron. This was supposed to be G2's play, and there's only 4,000 health left.
It's not going to live long enough. Teleport comes out from Kikis. The Baron is golden! Hybrid has bought some time, but it won't be anything more than that, as it's secured by Supermassive. This is a big turning point. Perks is chunked out and killed. Naru's taken him out. Hybrid pulled backwards by Tempered Fate. There's a reply back onto Naru, and Kikis is in the front line. Emperor, watch his hit points. He's looking for Dumbledore. It's Trick that gets the kill credit, and they've turned the fight around. After securing Baron, Supermassive are collapsing around themselves. 3 members down for just Perks.
So good job to collapse and kill Perks, but the ultimate out of Emperor there just absolutely decimated the rest of the team. I mean, sending Hybrid in, able to get the Bard stun afterwards, and Kikis looking for a Chu.
He's feeling the support, the rest of G2 coming in. Achu's low on mana, got no flash. Trick should be able to take him down. One more hit will do it, and then they turn their attention to Tholdren. Hybrid's even able to run away with his life. Emperor's just gonna try and kill Tholdren, and all Tholdren's doing is buying time. There's a teleport coming in from Naru. Tholdren decides to re-engage, gets the shutdown. It's not done yet. Gold card, wild card, parallel convergence, double kill for Tholdren and Supermassive.
Yeah, now they can look to push up mid lane. Tholdren's still going with it. They're looking for Kikis. I think they need to go towards mid lane. Kikis.
Oh my word, we're not done fighting. Perks is trying to challenge Tholdren. Defensive flash! The soldiers won't get it. Tholdren, he took the fight and backed away.
Yeah, he certainly did, and Kikis looking to see if he can escape. Wildcard won't hit him, so he will get out for now. And this is Supermassive riding their lead to the very edge and narrowly escaping. Sure, they got Baron, but they don't get any advantage for it. It's only on one member now, but it is a Twisted Fate with Ultimate, so they'll at least be able to... it's actually Tholdren. He has teleport, so similar thing. They will be able to apply it to one side lane. Dragon number 4.
At 25.5 minutes. Right, timer is on for G2. They have to fight a pick composition with a 2k gold lead. With Baron, teleports, at least for another minute now. Shortly. And this is going to be risky because G2, when they've been grouped, have looked good, but they've been unable to be grouped at the right time.
And really, they should look good when they're grouped. I mean, they have the Azir, they have the Kalista as well. Like, this is a team that is built around team fighting and should be able to secure that. Supermassive have no business even trading equally in team fights right now. I mean, Twisted Fate, as the game progresses, will get better. He's going to pick up a Zhonya's. He's going to get multiple reels. I mean, Kindred is a good team fighter.
There you go.
There you go. Zhonya's picked up. So, sure, maybe now they can go toe-to-toe, but the control should still be in G2's favor.
And you have to remind, like, what is at stake this game? This is the last game of the first half of the round robin. So everybody will have played 5 matches, and if G2 drop this, goes 0-5, it will put the next 2 teams tied for 4th as SKT and Supermassive at 2 wins, 3 losses. And that makes it nearly impossible for G2. They would have to really win absolutely everything out and have some luck on their side to make top 4. Alternatively, if G2 pick up a win, it means that contest for maybe 3rd, 4th will be so much tighter, so much closer here at MSI.
Yeah, and you can see that G2 really have buckled down in this game. It doesn't look easy or clean, but you can see that they are putting in the work to slow the pace and not let the game snowball. Kickers is performing much better. And it's just, it honestly is almost painful to see how carefully they have to play when they were so decisive in their victories.
Black Shield for Dumbledore will buy some time. A flash forward. No, it wasn't a flash from Hybrid. He just moves forward. Tempered Fate after the Black Shield times. And all of a sudden, Supermassive are the ones out of position. 5v4. And the ADC for Supermassive is left in the base for 40 seconds. Tholdren's got TP and he's pushing down bottom. G2, they're grouping up because Naru, he's pushing top. We've got a base race on our hands. Dumbledore is in trouble. He's killed by G2 Esports.
And Kickers is going to be able to respond as now Stone Mage is in trouble.
He's in trouble indeed. There's a lot of spears stuck in him. Emperor is going to get the kill. But look at this. Inhibitor up top is down. Kickers is forced to respond in the bottom lane. He's got teleport available, but it looks like it should be a trade. 35 seconds before Stomage, 10 seconds for a Chew. G2, they're going to open up mid inhib.
Yeah, they certainly are. Sidewave versus mid inhibitor really is a big debate. But the fact that they were able to push down turrets and get all of the additional gold, they didn't get it.
They didn't get it. That is so game-changing. Finally close out. Emperor's gone low. The rest of Supermassive are trying to respond. There's a team fight breaking out. Everyone takes a magical journey to safety, and Kikis and Tholdren, they were trading. Emperor's still alive. Naru has his teleport rather. Where are the wards? G2 have walked over one, and they may be able to get out clean.
Yeah, so they will finally get out clean, but they cost themselves seconds where now, all of a sudden, Supermassive will be able to reassert some pressure in the mid lane, push this super creep wave out, and there is a huge wave on the top side of the map that G2 Esports must deal with immediately. Get the vision around Baron, get the vision around Dragon. This game's still very close.
It's gone absolutely crazy. Super's in 2 lanes. We get closer to 30 minutes. The CS differences, you know, down 40 for Kickers, but he's farming champions. Perks has done a much better job CSing, plus 45, but the matchup favors him. And all of that kind of goes out the window when you see they're even on towers. Dragon will be up in around 3 or so minutes, Spawn. Baron's up in 1. And Supermassive are on the cusp of aspect of the Dragon. One thing that plays in G2's favor, Super's down middle, may help them in setting up around that Dragon.
Yeah, so the argument is that Supers in mid lane give you all that vision that you need to see when they are entering into the fog of war. However, top lane is much more annoying to deal with because you have to leave your team, opening you up for one of those picks. And because they have double teleport, Tholdren can go up there. Now, wow.
Oh, good damage onto Trick.
Naru can follow, and then they can still both teleport back to mid lane if they have to stop the push.
Look at the timers on the neutral objectives. 40 seconds to Baron, 1 minute 30 to Dragon. This game is balancing on a knife edge. And whoever picks up either of those objectives is going to give themselves a very big advantage going into the next 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay. Kikis, despite having the TP, he's actually trying to deal with Thaldrun.
Yeah, Thaldrun really needs...
Naru.
Naru really needs that Void Staff if he's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with this guy. But you can see, this is the setup. Supermassive want to be pushing out mid lane, regardless whether there's super minions there or not. Trick, on the other hand, I guarantee does not want to be answering them in the top lane. That's where Kikis needs to be, because 50 seconds on Dragon 5, Vision is generally there early.
And the target is Perks. He's got Cleanse, Divide, the Flash as well. True Shot Barrage almost takes Perks down, and there's no Hourglass to speak of. Kikis is already teleported in. Fate's Call, Flash, Gold Card, all of it negated. Stomage is in trouble. Caught by the Tempered Fate. It will buy some time with Lamb's Respite, but he should go down. Kill easily picked up there by G2. 50 seconds on the clock. Baron is live, and it's 30 to Dragon. Yes. What is the focus for G2?
Aggressive play there to try and get onto Perks, but G2 still need to go clean out their base. Supers are there. They can't really get anything off it. It will just be a hard reset of the map, and maybe try and secure Vision around one of those major objectives.
The inhibitor will be spawning relatively soon, and the focus for G2 will be Dragon. Want to deny the additional stats, the double Dragon bonuses, but Supermassive are somewhat grouped up. Naru's in trouble. He's got Hourglass to buy some time. Black Shield will keep him alive a few seconds longer. Wildcards does a lot of work onto G2, and a 3-man stun, I believe, coming out from Thaldrun. Trick is going low. Kikis shoots out the hammer to keep himself alive, and goes back in. He's in trouble. Thaldrun's looking for more. Look at all of those spears. A good stun from Kikis will find a kill as Emperor Perks is able to find his way back into the fight. So, when all said and done, traded 1 for 1, and it looks like G2 should be able to secure this Dragon.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. Kikis back in base. Wow, Naru's teleporting.
There's a TP up top. Kikis is there, though. Would have to cancel at the moment Kikis showed.
Yeah, so good news is Naru still has a global, but that 5th Dragon Snowball has finally been stopped by
for 6 minutes.
Esports for 6 minutes, and this team fighting comp can continue to scale up. We've already seen Emperor, as the game goes on, getting more and more effective. They want to do the Baron.
There is a Tempered Fate available for Hybrid. It didn't help the last time, but it may be more useful this time because there's no primary tank for Supermassive with Thaldrun still dead.
Yeah, and that is absolutely huge, so they will back away. TF ulti just used to see where they are currently on the map. Don't want to get picked off, especially with Dumbledore so low.
So that means no global for Naru, no global for Thaldrun. That'll buy some time for G2.
Yeah, it certainly will, and that's huge, honestly, because G2 right now looks like they are much more on the same page, arriving at team fights very well together and have been able to take the last couple. And as I said, against the likes of the Kindred, Emperor just will be able to come up massive. He can sit inside that Lamb's Respite and just hold all of the spears until he needs to make them go pop. And finally, G2 have control over the Baron area.
Yeah, and the bottom lane. There's a gigantic minion wave in favor of G2 pushing towards Supermassive. If you step back and look at this game, both teams putting on a good performance in terms of their team compositions. G2 for the first time showing a better understanding of their opponent's team comp and ability timings.
What a clever magical journey. They have their Scuttle Crab, but Hybrid takes his team in the side, so now they have to face check, and it looks like they're going to be able to secure it.
They may be able to. There's going to be a lot of spears to rend for Emperor, and Jeet's support. Supermassive will be there too late. SUP, that Tricode catching me for a loop. Dumbledore is in trouble with Baron secured. Luckily, there's no follow-up team fights.
That was genius from Hybrid. Honestly, taking his team through the side, able to secure that pretty much without contest. And as you said, that massive super wave, that massive creep wave that was set up early, now it's doing me as well, was just able to create that pressure in the bottom side of the map to secure it.
I think it counts as a super wave. It was
huge.
It was big, but it didn't amount to anything. GA picked up for Thaldrun. Kikis has had his for a little while. QSS for Trick as well. I think that's very important against the single target CC. The Dark Binding of the Gold card. Hell, even the Parallel Convergence, to be fair. Although that is multi-target, but regardless of that fact, G2 now setting up for the siege. There's no tower, and Kikis is teleport available, so he's pushing out the top lane as well, Spain.
Yeah, it looks like they will be able to defend for now. Thaldrun trying to answer pressure, but shortening the wave is so huge for Perks.
It'll be important to see what Supermassive decide to do. Naru attempted to TP up to that top lane to re-secure the inhibitor, as it were. And with Thaldren on the bottom lane, are they going to be brave? Are they going to try a big play? Thaldren is going to open up the bottom lane inhibitor. Kikis is going to open up the top lane. G2 on the verge of securing 2 inhibitors. Perks slides forward, uses some of his cooldown. Inhibitor number 1 falls. Tempered Fate flies out, and that will buy time for G2 to take their second inhibitor. Unchallenged.
Thaldren, you need to come back.
They're not done. Thaldren's got a teleport available. He's TPing to a Nexus turret. Archu's trying to put damage out, and Kikis shoots out the verdict. There's damage on the back line, but his double doge is down. He's going to be killed. Not going to be able to affect the rest of the game. Stomage trying to put damage on the back line and buy time for Supermassive, but this is going to be scary. 5 versus 4. Kikis still has a GA, even if he gets killed, and Stomaged is able to kill Hybrid. That's a 1-for-1 in terms of support.
Got the GA.
They've got the GA from Kikis. They got to do it again. There's still a tower standing, and G2 unable to make this push work.
Yeah, and they still have double teleport, and all of a sudden, Naru is going for the inhibitor.
He is indeed. Kikis can respond if he wants to. Kikis decides to re-engage. Lamb's Respite will buy time. Kikis buffs up the minions, flashes away.
Oh,
and the minions, they do it for G2. Mystic Shot will slow down Kikis as Naru is in trouble. Here comes Emperor zooming forward, able to pick up the kill with the help of Perks. But G2 lose Kikis in the process.
And all of a sudden, Archu is able to also pick up Kikis. So this is on a knife's edge. Can they defend? I mean, Stomage is still 30 seconds away. It's going to be a 4v5. Super's in 2 lanes. They're just going to try and walk this one down the middle lane and pick up the win.
G2 got to be very, very careful. They get caught out. There is still damage from Thaldren and Archu to finish it up. And they've got to get through that GA of Archu. It is not on cooldown, so 3.5 members of Supermassive. Although Stomage will be up in 5 seconds, so G2, they're not going for the Nexus yet.
And they're going to get another crack at that Dragon, because that's 40 seconds away, and G2 Esports are backing off. They do not want anything to do with it. This game, 40 minutes in, death time is so punishing. And when you're playing against pretty much a 6-item Twisted Fate, who makes pretty short work of those turrets, I think it's fair to say, they just need to play this one out slowly and carefully.
Slowly and carefully. 15 kills to 18 kills. 8 towers to 1. And the gold graph tells such a big story of how it's been swapped. It's Hybrid taking on Dumbledoge, but Hybrid is forced to dash away. Magical Journey through the wall. But Supermassive are in range. Thaldren's got no TP, and he's recalling in the mid lane. Got to deal with those supers in the top.
Yeah, I think they just have to give this one up. Maybe throw some wild cards at it, see if you can get a steal, but there is no way you can fight right now, Supermassive. We already mentioned G2's comp is just superior in that area.
The Rend and Smite should make this one safe. Should. But I've seen so many steals this weekend already. The Dragon is picked up by G2. They secure it safely. Stomage is going to jump away.
They got Dumbledoge.
Dumbledoge is out, but who else will follow it through? Very good Sand Soldiers from Perks, but no additional follow-up. Trick is down to 1,000 hit points, and Dumbledoge is in trouble. Hybrid jumps forward. Summoning Heal comes out. It's Kikis that gets the kill secure. Stomage is caught amongst a plethora of G2 members, and the Emperor's Divide sends Supermassive into G2's waiting hands. The hammer knocks Thaldren into the air, and that will be an ace for G2 Esports. And they've burned through the GA. They've got to kill him for the ace eventually.
Finally, G2 are able to piecemeal together a victory, it looks like. Quickshot. They'll teleport into the base and be able to take it down. Supermassive, unfortunately, not able to pick up their second, but that was very close.
G2 Esports had to dig real deep to take down Turkey's Supermassive. But that will give G2 their first win of the mid-season invitational.
And Kick is much improved. Trick and Perks back to their old style of gameplay. I mean, at times it was still sloppy. I think that face right there from Perks tells it all. But in the end, results are what matters, and they get there first.
A tough loss for Supermassive, because it really could have gone either way. And another game where Supermassive honestly looked very good.
I mean, it took 40 minutes. It was 2 inhibitors on both teams.
Yeah.
They were able to secure a Baron for themselves. Thaldren on your screen looks pretty disappointed. They knew that they could be equal with SKT for that 4th place. But credit to G2, every time Naru tried to ask the question, every time Tholdren tried to ask the question, this time around they had the correct answer.
I've seen a number of games, a number of sloppy games, you know, and mistakes here and there and missed positions.
We're in China.
Embracing the chaos, and it is exciting to watch. But this is one of the games that I remember earlier in the week. I think it was Crepo was saying that it's so punishing to lose because of how many times you could have won.
Oh, completely, especially when you're the one with the double teleport, you're the one with the twisted fate. I mean, when the map opens up like that, and you are supermassive and you have 4 dragons, you should be able to bait this objective and trade it for something more important on the map. But they just weren't able to do it because, you know, credit to G2, they were able to get the jump on them time and time again.
Stone Cold killer face there from Kickers. He ended the game 7-2-10. Sniping a lot of people with the hammer, but more importantly,